Who really owns America? It's a question that might seem simple at first, but the answer is surprisingly complex. We often think of America as a nation of the people, by the people, for the people, but when we look closer, we see a web of powerful entities, all vying for influence and control. The question of ownership becomes a tangled web. It's about understanding the forces that shape our lives, from the products we buy to the laws that govern us. Power often resides in the hands of the few. Let's start with the big guys corporations. These behemoths, some larger than entire countries' economies, wield immense power in America. Think about it, the food we eat, the clothes we wear, the cars we drive. Chances are they're all produced and sold by a handful of massive companies. This corporate dominance extends far beyond consumer goods. We're talking about industries like pharmaceuticals, energy, and of course the financial sector, all dominated by a few key players. This concentration of economic power translates into political influence. Corporations lobby for favorable legislation, pour money into political campaigns, and use their vast resources to shape public opinion. They argue that their interests align with those of the American people, that a thriving corporate sector means a thriving America. Alongside these corporate giants, we find another powerful force: wealthy families. Names like Walton, Koch, and Mars might ring a bell. These families, with fortunes amassed over generations, hold significant stakes in major industries, their wealth trickling down through investments and philanthropic endeavors. Their influence is often less visible than that of corporations, operating through a complex web of trusts, foundations, and political donations. They fund think tanks that shape policy debates, support candidates who align with their views, and use their platforms to advocate for their interests. The concentration of such immense wealth in the hands of a few families raises concerns about fairness, equality, and the very nature of the American dream. Critics argue that this dynastic wealth perpetuates inequality, creating a system where opportunities are increasingly limited for those not born into privilege. Now let's talk about foreign investment. The United States, with its stable economy and attractive investment opportunities, has long been a magnet for foreign capital. From sovereign wealth funds to private investors, entities from around the globe own pieces of the American pie: real estate, stocks, bonds, you name it. This foreign ownership isn't inherently bad. In fact, it can be beneficial, injecting capital into the economy, creating jobs, and fostering global interconnectedness. However, it also raises concerns about influence and control. When foreign entities own significant portions of American assets, it's natural to wonder about their potential impact on policy decisions and national interests. This isn't about xenophobia, it's about understanding the complexities of a globalized world where economic power transcends national borders. Section 5, the flow of power, lobbying and legislation. So, how do these powerful players, corporations, wealthy families, foreign entities, exert their influence? One word: lobbying. Lobbying, in its simplest form, is the act of trying to influence government decisions. In the United States, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, with armies of lobbyists swarming the halls of Congress, whispering in the ears of lawmakers and pushing for policies that benefit their clients. These clients, more often than not, are the very entities we've been discussing. Corporations seeking tax breaks, wealthy individuals pushing for favorable estate laws, foreign companies vying for government contracts. This isn't to say that all lobbying is inherently bad. Advocacy groups, non-profits, and even ordinary citizens engage in lobbying to voice their concerns and push for change. However, the outsized influence of corporate and wealthy interests in the lobbying arena creates an uneven playing field, where the voices of everyday Americans are often drowned out by those with deep pockets and powerful connections. Section 6. Historical shifts from landowners to corporations. The question of who owns America isn't a new one. In fact, the answer has evolved significantly throughout history. In the early days of the Republic, land ownership was the primary source of wealth and power. Large landowners, often concentrated in the South, held significant sway over the political and economic landscape. As the nation industrialized, the source of power shifted from land to industry. The rise of corporations, particularly in sectors like railroads, oil, and finance, created a new class of wealthy elites who wielded immense influence. The Gilded Age, as it came to be known, saw the rise of robber barons like John D. Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie, men who amassed vast fortunes and shaped the nation in their image. These historical shifts illustrate a recurring theme in American history: the concentration of power in the hands of the few, albeit in different forms. Whether it's land, factories, or today's digital platforms, the control over resources often translates into control over the levers of power. Section 7, the digital age, tech titans and data dominance. Today, tech titans like Google, Facebook, Amazon, and Apple dominate our lives. Their platforms shape how we communicate, consume information, and think. They hold a treasure trove of our data. Every search, click, and purchase is tracked and analyzed. This data dominance gives them unprecedented power. Their algorithms raise concerns about privacy and democracy. Who controls our data controls the future. Section 8, the concentration of power, implications and concerns. So what are the implications of this concentration of power in the hands of corporations, wealthy families, and tech titans? Critics argue that it undermines democracy, erodes public trust, and exacerbates inequality. When a select few hold such significant influence over the economy, the political system, and even the flow of information, it creates an uneven playing field where the voices of ordinary Americans are drowned out. This concentration of power can lead to policies that benefit the wealthy and powerful at the expense of the working class and the poor. It can stifle competition, innovation, and social mobility, creating a system where the rich get richer and the gap between the haves and the have-nots continues to widen. This isn't about demonizing success or advocating for complete equality of outcomes. It's about recognizing the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of creating a system that works for everyone, not just those at the top. Section 9. So, who really owns America? So, we've come full circle to our original question, who really owns America? The answer, as we've seen, is complex and multifaceted. It's not as simple as pointing to a single entity or group. America is a nation of individuals, each with their own hopes, dreams, and aspirations. But it's also a nation shaped by powerful forces that often operate behind the scenes, influencing the decisions that affect our lives in profound ways. Understanding these forces, their origins, their methods, and their impact is crucial for any citizen who seeks to engage in meaningful dialogue about the future of this nation. It's about recognizing that the question of who owns America isn't about assigning blame, but rather about sparking a conversation about power, influence, and the very nature of American democracy in the 21st century.